Morning, everybody. I'm a little late getting ready this morning. I am just still not feeling super well. And I was kind of hopeful that I'd feel a lot better this morning. And it just didn't. And I was just up and slow moving around. So I hope you'll forgive me for my lateness. I'm just trying to get over all of this and get ready for the trip, and it's been a lot, I'll be honest with you. Yesterday, hello, good morning. Yesterday, I went to the doctor, and it's a whole long situation there. If you've been following my channel for a while, you know that I have issues with antibiotics. Many issues with antibiotics, so I was really trying to avoid going to the doctor because I really didn't want to take any more medication, because I recently, in the last few months, have had an allergic reaction to medication, and I didn't really want to take any more. But I do trust my doctor that I have right now very much. The allergic reaction I had to medication was actually medicine that was given to me by the dentist. And then I had to go to my doctor and try to fix it all up. Good morning, Hope. I hope John's doing well. So anyway, so I had to go to my actual doctor and have him kind of fix things after I had an allergic reaction this last time. But anyway, so needless to say, I have bronchitis. The good thing is it's not pneumonia. I've actually had pneumonia a few times before, and the fear is that it would turn into pneumonia, so we're going to go ahead and do some antibiotics. And so he knows that I love my doctor. He's an excellent doctor, and I trust him 100%. So I'm sorry to hear that about John Cherish, but you know, I'm glad he's going to get in surgery soon and they'll take care of it. Anyway, so it's not pneumonia yet, so that's a good thing. And he gave me medicine which he thinks will have the right effect without hurting my body, so that's another good thing. I trust my doctor, another good thing. So all of those things are good. It's just I'm so nervous about medication that I'm a little stressed about that. So, but so far so good. And yes, OJ all day. I have been drinking OJ. I have been taking like 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C. I've been essential oiling. I've been doing my herbal remedies. I had to get through, one time I had pneumonia, and I had to get through 6 weeks of it without any medication because I had an allergic reaction when I had pneumonia. That was really tough, and I do not want a repeat of that. That was why I went to the doctor. That was with my previous doctor that I did not trust very well, and it was after that that I found the current doctor that I'm at, and I love him, and he is the best. So I'm very, very content with that. So anyway, and I actually do sound a lot better. I think you can hear it in my voice. I sound better. There's some positives. There are lots of positives, lots of things to be thankful for. So, Cherish said we went to the conference and all fall apart. I think we just overdid it. If I may say, I think we were just overdoing it at the conference. I was exhausted afterwards. I'm sorry I'm like fiddling with my hair, guys. If you get up at 7 o'clock in the morning and look at yourself on camera, then you might be a little self-conscious too. Anyway, I have to put the links up, guys. Let me just take 1 second and get the links up here and make sure everything's taken care of. And we'll get started. In the meantime, you guys can put up your prayer requests. I watched a couple of live events with my friends last night, and one of them said something about, don't you hate it when you're live and there's like a second of quietness and you just feel like, oh, it's dead airspace. But I don't exactly feel like this is a live event per se. It really feels like hanging out with friends. So I hope you guys don't mind just a second of quietness while I get all this information up. So I'm going to put me on the list for my health and also for our travel. We're traveling this weekend, and we're going to go see family. And you could also pray for the family too, just the family thing. You know, it's a wedding, and a lot of family gets together, and we just want to make sure it's really pleasant, encouraging visit. So we're going to pray for John. Cherishes John and his face. He's going to go for a CT Monday and then the surgeon. So I'm going to make sure that everything goes well and they can take care of what's going on with him. Whoops. Jackaroo Lane. Jackaroo Lane says prayers for her husband's job. Christy in the Carolinas says, please pray for me and my CRPS. I've lost 3 inches of muscle mass in my left leg, and I've fallen 3 times this week. And pray for my depression. Thank you. So we'll pray for you, Christy. Oh, Cherish also added to pray for her because yesterday would have been Shane's 10th birthday and she's struggling. So. Ooh, Erin says prayers for her. She has an infection from one of her incisions from surgery she had 4 weeks ago. So pray that that would go away. Elizabeth said financial struggles. She said they want to figure out their grocery situation. You came to the right place, my friend. You came to the right place. So let me know if I can help you in any way. You can message me on the Fundamental Home. I will be here. Of course, I don't do internet after sundown today. So I won't be on it from sundown Friday to sundown Saturday. But catch me this morning and I'll see what I can do for you. Andrea Mobo, healing from an operation. Peace and Pantry Home. Her son just left for work and he's late. I always pray for my boys too. And my husband sometimes. My husband's always late. I appreciate all y'all praying for me. I really do. Miss Maria C7 says she's praying for healing. My Grace RU says, good morning. Prayer request for me for quick recovery. Had a nerve block injections yesterday and still sore. Antoinette says clarity. She's being led by the Lord to move, but that wasn't in her plans. She needs to navigate this path. Good morning, Faye Frutos, which is Maria. I do know that. Alrighty. Lacey says, pray for our country. She's been hearing there'll be riots all over the U.S. next Saturday, which happens to be her birthday. Very sad. Happy birthday. Hey Mama says financial wisdom. ABC says her husband's business. And Cynthia says strength over a letdown in the ministry. Okay, guys, let's go ahead and pray. Heavenly Father, Lord, I just thank you that we are able to come together through the internet and meet and look at your word and focus on you. And I just pray that you would help us with all these needs that we have. Lord, there's so many of them. I'm sure there's so many unspoken, and I just pray that you'd be with everyone so that we could just get together and think only about you and the things that you would have us do this morning. I pray that you would help me with my health. I hope you would help me recover and not have any side effects at all. And I also pray that you keep us safe with travel and that it would be a good visit with the family and something that's fruitful. And I pray you bless in a very special way. Pray for John and his face, Lord, that the pain wouldn't be too much for him and that you'd give the doctors wisdom and help them figure out exactly what needs to be done for him. And they'll do it quickly and he can get back to work and you provide for them financially while he's got to miss work. And I also pray for Cherish, Lord. She's struggling with all these different circumstances and dealing with the loss of her child. And I just pray that you would give her a special measure of comfort and peace today. I pray for Jackaroo and her husband's job, Lord. You know the circumstances there, and I pray that you would help him with his job and whatever their needs are. I pray for Christy and her CRPS and depression. Lord, I just pray that you would give her a large measure of grace to deal with the difficulties that she has with her physical health. I pray that you'd give her, again, peace. Peace is so hard when you're dealing with depression, and I pray that you give her joy as well so that she can move forward and feel better. I pray for Erin and her infection. I pray that you would just completely heal it and take it away. I also pray for the healing of Andrea, who also is trying to heal after an operation, that both of those ladies, that you would just give them a very special healing, take away all the pain and the circumstances with the infections. I pray for Elizabeth and her financial struggles, Lord, that you'd give her wisdom. I pray for Maria's healing. I pray for my Grace that she would have a quick recovery and not too much soreness from those nerve block injections. And Antoinette, that you would give her clarity and direction and all the things that she needs to do, that she knows the decisions that she's making are wise decisions, and she can have comfort in the fact that she knows that they're good ones and that it's the direction that you would have her go. Hey Mama prays for financial wisdom, Lord, and I just pray that you grant it to her. ABC's husband business, I pray that you would bless it and help it. And Cynthia, strength as they go through this ministry circumstance, Lord. I pray that you bless her and whoever else is impacted in a very special way. And Lord, I just pray for the Bible study now that you would help us to see what you would have us see as we look to your word and try to figure out how to improve our relationship with food based on the Bible. So thank you so much, Lord, and we give you all the honor and glory in Jesus Christ's name. Amen. Okay, guys. So, we are in Genesis, and I always say at the beginning, if you're here for the first time, that this Bible study is about basically me and my relationship with food, and I want to change it. I went to the doctor yesterday. I weighed myself. I'm at the highest weight I've ever been, and largely that's due to all my troubles with medication. It's really negatively impacted my weight and my health, and I just want to change that. And I think that the best way to do that is through food, but there's so many voices in my head with different diets and different friends that do different things, and I figured, you know what, before I really think about any of that, I really want to look here and see what the Bible has to say about food, and just let the Lord change my whole attitude and relationship toward food. So I'm doing daily devotions. I started in Genesis, and I am going straight through the Bible, just looking for any verses that are referenced to food, and really thinking about what those verses mean in terms of how we use food in our lives and our relationship with it, so that I can make some better choices. And so I have been making some choices too, by the way. Still no coffee, and I'm really thinking about things that we can do here in November. I love it when a new month starts, because then you have that impetus to start something new. So I am thinking about that. Anyway, we're still in Genesis. This is Bible study 12. And we're just about through Genesis. Today we're going to talk about chapter 27. And there's a lot of food mentioned in it. And it's funny that there's all these different areas where food is used as an integral part of the story. And this is one of those. Sometimes it's just kind of on the side, but in this case, it's like one of those main features of the story. The food is definitely involved in it. So if you have your Bible, you guys can look at Genesis chapter 27. I'm going to read it. And I'm going to read a lot of the scripture today. But you'll see why in a second. So, and it came to pass, this is verse 1, that when Isaac was old and his eyes were dim so that he couldn't see, he called Esau his eldest son and said unto him, my son. And he said unto him, behold, here am I. And he said, behold now, I'm old, and I know not the day of my death. Now therefore take, I pray thee, thy weapons, thy quiver, and thy bow, and go out to the field, and take me some venison, and make me savory meat, such as I love, and bring it to me, that I may eat, and that my soul may bless thee before I die. And Rebekah heard when Isaac spoke to Esau his son, and Esau went to the field to hunt for venison, and to bring it. And Rebekah spake unto Jacob her son, saying, behold, I heard thy father speak unto Esau thy brother, saying, bring me venison, and make me savory meat, that I may eat and bless thee before the Lord before my death. Now therefore, my son, obey my voice, according to that which I command thee. Go now to the flock, and fetch me from thence 2 good kids of the goats, and I will make them savory meat for thy father, such as he loveth. And thou shalt bring it to thy father, that he may eat, and that he may bless thee before his death. Keep going to verse 14. And he went and fetched and brought them to his mother, and his mother made savory meat, such as his father loved. Verse 17, and she gave the savory meat and the bread which she had prepared into the hands of her son Jacob. Verse 19, and Jacob said unto his father, I am Esau thy firstborn. I have done according as thou badest me. Arise, I pray thee, sit and eat of my venison, that thy soul may bless me. Verse 25, and he said, bring it near to me. I will eat of my son's venison, that my soul may bless thee. And he brought it near to him, and he did eat, and he bought him wine, and he drank. Verse 28, therefore God give thee the dew of heaven, and the fatness of the earth, and plenty of corn and wine. And it came to pass, as soon as Isaac had made an end of blessing Jacob, and Jacob was yet scarce gone out from the presence of Isaac his father, that Esau his brother came in from his hunting. And he also had made savory meat, and brought it unto his father, and said unto his father, let my father arise, and eat of his son's venison, that my soul may bless me. And of course, here at this point, they figure out there was a deception, and he couldn't take his blessing away. He'd already given it to Jacob, so Esau lost out. So anyway, I made a few notes of the story, and I was praying about what was like the overarching thing to take away from this. It's a challenge when you have such a passage like this, and there's so many direct meanings. And of course, we're not going into any deep doctrinal things. I'm specifically looking about our relationship with food. And the main takeaway I got from this passage was food is supposed to be used for a blessing. That's what it was originally called for. He said, bring me some food that I can bless you. And food was a part of that blessing. Not only was food a part of the actual moment where there was going to be a blessing, but it was actually part of the actual blessing. When he blessed Jacob, he said, let God give thee the dew of heaven, and the fatness of the earth, which is food, and plenty of corn and wine. He specifically blessed him with food. That was something that to bless someone with. So it wasn't just that food was part of the whole time of the blessing. It was part of the blessing that was given. So there's food wrapped in all of these different situations. So again, it was supposed to be used for a blessing. But, even though it was supposed to be used for the blessing, it was actually used for deceit here. So I was thinking a lot about that. And I was thinking that we do the exact same thing now. Food, which is supposed to be for us for a blessing, is used for deceit in a lot of different ways. And I actually was thinking about it, and I thought we could actually play every single part, I think, in this particular story. So, I mean, excuse me. there's Isaac. Okay, first of all, he excuse me, I was distracted by comments. You guys can keep posting prayer requests. There's a gnat flying around too. You guys can keep posting prayer requests, and we will mention them here at the end before we go. Okay, so back to Isaac. We can be Isaac. Food is given to us under false circumstances, and we just blindly take it. And I think that speaks to me about food. I was hearing. I'm doing a couple of things. I'm reading a book that I do want to share with you. And I was listening to Christian radio yesterday, and they were talking on Christian radio yesterday, Christian Talk Radio, that the people in the United States where we live, most of us don't raise our own food, and most of us don't even prepare our own food. Clearly, I prepare a lot of food, but I don't raise it. And we're just so far from the process of making our own food that a lot of times we're just blindly taking what's put in front of us, what's given to us. Again, fast food is another one of those things. I do have honey. Thank you for asking. It's just one of those things that we are so removed. And I've said it before that I think for the month of November, we're going to do a no takeout November. And it's not that takeout is inherently bad, but I do think there is something to be said about constantly just being given food that you have no part in. That really, that's why our relationship with food is so unsteady and unhealthy, because we don't really have a relationship. It seems like we have a relationship because we're eating it, but it's false because we've had no part in the actual preparation of it. A lot of people don't even understand. They don't even understand anything about the food that they're getting. You know, we've had people say to us something about butchering animals, and people who eat meat. And seriously, someone said this to us. They said, "Why are you butchering the animals? Why don't you just get the meat from the store?" And I was like, well, it's the meat at the store has also been butchered. And I'm trying to remember the exact quote, but it was something to the effect of, the meat from the store isn't butchered. It's like already dead or something. I don't know what they said, but they thought that the meat at the store, you weren't actually killing the animal, like the animal was already dead. And it was like, no, you're so far from the process that you don't even realize that you are responsible for they in their mind had told themselves they were not responsible for the deaths of any animals. The ones at the store had already died. And it's like, you don't even understand what you're being given. You have no idea. You know, and again, people are talking about food you don't grow. You know, you don't have no idea what's put on even the fruits and vegetables. You know, even those of you who, and I'm not being critical of the organic thing at all. I'm just saying a lot of people rely on that organic label. But, you know, you still don't even know what's going on with that. You know, there's a lot of things that could happen even with the organic label. That between it getting from the farm to the store, you know, there's a lot of things that could happen. My husband's worked in produce for 20 years, and I have heard lots of stories of things that happen in the store. And my husband is very careful. You know, you guys know if you watch the channel, he's very clean. He's obsessive compulsive, literally, like clinically. And he puts towels down. He's a very, very clean man. If I was going to buy from anyone produce, I'd buy it from Rick. But even so, there's things that happen. There's cleaners that get spilled. There's all these things that could happen to the food before it gets to your table. But we're so far removed from it, and we're just taking it blindly. And we're ending up in a situation where we have been deceived. And so I think it's really important to try to reconnect to that process, so it's not just something being given to us and we're just blindly taking it. So that's my thoughts process in terms of Isaac, how food that's supposed to be used as a blessing is instead being used for deceit. I really think that it's important for me to reconnect with that whole food process. You know, at the very least, making your own food and knowing how it's prepared and what's put in it. Because you could even have awesome food and then it be prepared in a way that it's not healthy and it's not good for you. So a lot of it is lack of knowledge, but two, I mean, we have to take responsibility and say it's not just, oh, well, I didn't know. It's that we didn't seek to know either. So it's part of learning as well. And that's why I'm trying to read some books. I hit the Bible first before I hit any books. I did a few weeks of Bible study just to make sure that I was kind of grounded in what I was doing with the Bible. And then I started getting some books that were biblically based, talking about food. So now I'm studying that and trying to learn more and trying to figure out the right way to do things. So, but anyway, that's Isaac and how his part in this. I hope you guys don't mind that we go a little over today because I was like 10 minutes late. So then there's Rebecca. Rebecca using food for manipulation. I'm sorry, I readjust. And we see a lot of that too. I mean, we see it in our own homes. I mean, I gotta say I'm guilty of that. There have been times that I wanted to change Rick's mind about something, and I'm like, yeah, make him his favorite meal. Be like, oh, hey, sweetie, what do you think about this? And he's so happy. He's like, sure. So I'm guilty of it, but I think in the greater sense too, people do use food for manipulation, and you have to watch it. Because sometimes we can be the victim of that manipulation and sometimes we can be the manipulator. So one of those things is we have to be careful that we're not using food to manipulate others. Okay? I will share the book's title in a minute. Sorry. As I talk longer, that's when it starts to get worse. Okay, then there's Esau. Oh no, I'm sorry, Jacob. Jacob. We've been Jacob because we've given to our families without regard for the outcome. Jacob gave the food to Isaac. And when Jacob gave the food to Isaac, he was only thinking about what he wanted. I guess you could kind of say he was doing what his mother said. But I think if we just look at him as a man, he probably was just doing it just to get what he wanted, which was the blessing. I mean, he'd already manipulated Esau out of his birthright. So the thing about that is a lot of times we just give our family, like we were just talking about, the fact that we don't know the things that we're being blindly given and we just eat it. At the same time, we're just giving the same things or different things to our family without regard to the final outcome. And I can't tell you how many things. There are some soft treats, soft cookie-like snacks. I won't say the actual name. You might be able to figure out what it is. But I call them little deathies. I know, I'm trying not to disparage any kind of company, but I do. This is what I do call them in my house. I call them little deathies, and I don't buy them. But for years I did buy them, and I gave them to my kids, and then I found out some information about them that kind of scared me as a mom. And so I don't give them to my kids anymore. But it hurt my soul all the years I'd been giving them to my kids, and I felt so bad that I just, for a little treat, I would just give it to them and have no regard. I really had no regard for the outcome of that and how detrimental it was going to be to their health. And I think that sometimes we do that. Sometimes we think we're just giving them something and just kind of throwing something at them. And I'm so guilty of doing that, particularly like if I've had a hard day, and if they've had a hard day, I've even done this before, like I'll take Brianna out and get her a cup of coffee or whatever. And I usually try to get her the decaf, but still it's forming that habit. And I mean it well, but at the same time, I think I've been careless. I've been careless of the long-term outcome. Trying to change it now, but I've been careless in that, and I need to make some changes there. So in that regard, I think I've definitely been like a Jacob. And then Esau, again, careless attitude, about food, and I think that's not just that's not just the whole idea of I'm sorry for the trolls, guys. I was just talking and not paying attention, so I appreciate y'all being patient with that. Esau is careless about food, and it led to his downfall. And that's not just in this example. It's also in the example where he gave up his birthright for a soup. You know. Excuse me. He has been very careless in the things that he does. And where this struck me as a mom is, do you notice that the couple of examples with Esau in terms of food is when he was coming in so late that he was just starving and ready to take whatever came to him, and that's when he gave up his birthright. And here, in this situation, he went out and got the venison. And I'm not saying he intentionally took a long time, but he wasn't prepared and he did take a long time. So it in both of those situations where there was time involved ended up having a negative impact. And so again, as a mom, I was trying to see myself in it, you know. How many times have I just been kind of not prepared or late, and we had to run out and get something? Do you know what I mean? We had to run out and get some fast food because it's so late and I can't deal with it anymore. And it's like, we're just going to get fast food, guys. And, you know, we do that. And again, it's that same situation where Esau, he came in too late and he was so hungry he was about to die, he was going to give up his birthright. So in this situation, it's like, okay, so we're running so late that we'll just pretty much shove anything in their mouth and shove anything in our mouths and not even realize what we're giving up is our birthright of health, you know, our blessing of health. These things, because we take so long trying to take care of things. So I think that we're careless sometimes about the timing. We're careless sometimes about the planning. We're careless sometimes about the finances, and every time we're careless and we end up throwing something together at the last minute, it ends up being something that's rather than being good and a blessing for our family, it ends up being a detriment. So I was just trying to see myself in all those situations because I'm trying to honestly take a look at it and see where I can improve. And I think here what it's pointing to is, number one, being connected, like I said, to the food process, making sure we are actually raising some, making sure we are actually preparing it. If we can't raise it, prepare it at least. But somehow be connected to that food process. So also Rebecca using food to manipulate. Making sure that we're not doing that. Because I do think when we use it to manipulate, and this is what I meant to say about that, it changes how we see the food. And I think we need to really look at it as a blessing and not being used for deceit. And treat it like we would anything else that the Lord gives us. You know, see it as something that's from the Lord. Because if we just see it as just food, just an object, as something we can use to manipulate, then we're not giving it the respect that it's due, and that changes how we treat it. So I think we need to actually treat it with respect as something that comes from the Lord, not use it to manipulate others, not use it for negative things, use it for good things. And that includes our kids. Like, I mean, how many times have you tried to bribe your kid with a lollipop, right? I mean, maybe not everyone's done that, but I think everyone's probably at some point be like, be quiet and you'll get a snack. So we need to treat it in the right way, that it's something to be used for health and not something to be used for manipulation. And of course, we've been Jacob, just giving things to our families, and I think we need to just watch what we give to our families. And of course, Esau with his careless attitude, and we need to be prepared. And we need to plan ahead so that we're not stuck in these situations where we're not giving food the full respect that it's due. So that was all the notes that I had from today's thing. I hope you guys were able to follow it all. I know I kind of get lost in my thoughts. Part of the live event situation. You just go with it live, and me not feeling my best. I'm trying to tell you exactly what I'd written down in my notes, but at the same time, I'm not getting all the thoughts out. So I hope the Lord's going to bless that, and somehow you can use that. Let me take a look back at some of these comments here just to make sure we're hitting things up. I have to try not to pay attention to them when I'm talking about the actual Bible study. Otherwise, it'll just be too much. So Ajita said, pray for me. I can find true love and a new home, and for my parents to help them with their addictions. Donna said she had a tooth pulled and crown work yesterday and some pain today, so pray for her. Oh, my goodness. Donna says prayer for another job. She's 61, and the company she works for is probably going under. And people are enjoying the idea of no takeout November. I told my family yesterday that November would be no takeout, and my husband was his response was something to the effect of, it can be no takeout for you, but me and the boys will still go out and do stuff. It's like, okay, if that's how you want to do it. But for this house, we're going to do no takeout. So what he means is the boys and my husband, on their lunch hour, because they're working and in college, they're pretty much responsible for whatever they eat at this point. Rick usually comes home for his lunch, but sometimes he doesn't. It just depends on, if he feels like eating with us or he feels like eating out. So I can't control my husband. And my boys are grown boys, 18 and 20. So if they want to take their money and do that, they can. But they don't have to. I will have prepared food here for them. So I'm definitely going to make sure that I have everything together for them, and we are going to have a no takeout November. It has been announced to my family. So, and I did tell them, I said, that doesn't mean like if we're out and we're busy and we forgot something, I'm going to try to plan and be prepared. I'm glad we had this lesson beforehand. If we get hungry and we need a snack, I'll run to the grocery store and get like a granola bar. But no takeout November. We're not eating any takeout. I don't care how starving you are. And running into and I told Rick too, I said that includes coffee. I have given up coffee, but Rick still drinks coffee. And I'm like, we're not even running to Starbucks for coffee. You better bring a coffee thermos with you. And he has them because we've used them before. When the budget was so tight that we had to. I think part of the problem now is the freedom that we have in our budget a little bit. So, so we're definitely going to try to cut all that out and try to limit things. So, trying to make sure I get all of these comments here. Excuse me. I agree, we don't know what we eat because we don't grow it. Someone says, I try to buy from local farmers markets, and they're proud of what they sell. And that's true, and that's helpful. We have to keep in mind what we buy. We appreciate when we work for it. Raylene says she's under the weather. Yeah, and Farida says, I agree with the deception part, although I think it's more of using food as a source of comfort and also a false idol, and that's true too. I am going to tell you the book titles in just a minute. And again, this Gogola K loves God, says that's why we should always pray before we eat. Yep, definitely should do that. Donna says, TV glamorizes food, commercials for snacks and restaurants, and we want what we're thinking of instead of what our body needs. That's true, and I think the distractions definitely impact us. And she also says the sugar. Taryn says, as mothers, we play such a big role in all of this. We do, and of course, you see Rebecca's role in all of this. She really was the impetus, and she could have been an impact for good, but she was a negative impact. Lacey said, like drinking soda and giving it to kids instead of a healthier choice. Yeah, I do think sometimes we don't even think about that. I have almost never allowed soda in my house because when I was younger, I had problems with my kidneys, and I couldn't have soda, and so I never gave it to my kids. And so, like, people always question us about drinking water. We really do just drink water, and we always have, and it's not weird to us. In fact, I remember when the kids were younger and they would go to birthday parties, and the parents would serve sodas, and they would have sometimes juice or something else. And my kids would say, "Do you have some water?" I've been told on more than one occasion that my kids were the only kids with water, the only ones, and the parents, not the other kids didn't even care. They're not looking at what everybody's drinking, but the parents thought it was weird. And I think it's weird that the parents think it's weird it's water. Some people said, I didn't realize how bad some of those processed foods were. And it's hard to keep track of all that. That's why I think it's better if you can do it yourself. As a grandma, Donna says, I try to serve, and there's different Donnas, by the way. As a grandma, I try to serve fresh fruits as snacks for the grandkids because I know it's good for them and they should eat more fruits and veggies. And I think that's a good idea, too. Lots of grandmas here saying the same things. So how do you handle grandparents that want to give your kids junk? How do you guys do it? My mom and dad, I have a relationship with such that I will tell them, don't give my kids any junk. Not everyone has that kind of relationship. I wouldn't say it to my mother-in-law. Basically what I would just do is make sure that if they were my mother-in-law, because I'm not going to tell my mother-in-law what to do in her house. She's not my mother. If my husband wanted to say something to her, he can do that, but I'm not going to do that. So my relationship with my mother, I have a very close relationship. She's my mother, and I will just tell her how I feel about it. My mother-in-law, I've lived states away from her for years. I don't know her as well. I would just make sure if we're going to their house, I'm not going to complain about the food I was given. And I think that's a biblical idea too. I just would also, if we lived closer and it was something that was more constant, we would have to probably have a conversation about that. Somebody said, interested in how you connected the lateness and unpreparedness of our home life with the story, something to think about. Praise the Lord. I've been eating keto for 7 months. I've lost 100 pounds, but one of the biggest things for me is my relationship with food. It's been eye-opening. I do think that's the thing, because I've done a lot of diets before, and some of them worked, but they weren't long-lasting. I think it's definitely a change in the relationship, and that's why I'm hitting the Bible here. I need to make some serious changes. Angela says she's having surgery on the 28th next Thursday, so please pray for her. Aaron says, my boys are the same age as yours. I keep healthy lunch ideas for them, but it's up to them in the long run. I know. I keep healthy stuff for them, and so many times I offer it to them, and they do what they want. So somebody said they're sending me chicken soup over the net. I know I want to make some so bad. Put a snack box in the car full of granola bars. Now's a better time for it because it's a little bit cooler. Peace and Pantry Home says she's had to give up coffee too. Am I drinking tea? I am drinking some herbal teas now, particularly with all this. So, oh, you like my bangs? Thank you. They look rough right now, but I appreciate that. I cooked from home all the time when my boys are young. We ate out, it would mess with our stomachs. I do notice that too. There have been a few occasions, different events that we've gone to where the only beverage was soda, and everybody's only drank like a little bit of it, and it's really kills our stomach because we don't ever have it. I do have some advice here. We tell the grandparents no junk. My kids have sensitivities to dyes and other foods. So a lot of it they can't have. And I think that any grandparent that really loves their grandkids is going to be careful and make sure they give their grandkids good things. I have celiac disease, so we're gluten-free. We don't eat out much. As a grandmother of a 2-year-old granddaughter, I keep fruit in the house for her. We do no soda. We keep stuff in the car. What kind of brand of herbal tea? I don't use a brand. I go to the health food store and I get the loose herbal teas. Picnic box of disposable ware would be helpful. That's a good suggestion, Kara. She says plates, napkins, and a blanket, any of those things. I think that's a really good idea. I'm going to take that to heart. I appreciate that advice. Because it's not just preparing the actual food, it's preparing all the utensils and things that you need. I definitely think I need to get that together. Get like a whole box and keep that there. Sometimes as parents we need to think about the choices, what our kids eat, but in reality we need to check what we eat. So true. Setting an example is really important. And, I really try to set a good example in the things that I eat. But sometimes I've set a bad example, like I said with Brianna and the coffee. I feel bad about that now. And so now you got to backtrack and change things. And then, you know, when you have teenagers, they'll be like, well, you did it. And it's like, well, now I'm changing it. And that's just how it is. Anyway, this has been a really long study, guys. I appreciate y'all hanging out to the end. This is the longest one so far. But I hope that you got something good out of it. I know that I did. I'm feeling really positive about the things that we're going to do. You know, we're traveling this weekend, so I do plan to take some food with us. And, oh, I did promise that I was going to share with you the book. Let me see if I have it right here. Okay. I don't have it near me, and I don't want to go way down the hallway. So, right now I'm reading the Daniel Plan. That is what I'm reading right at the moment. And I have other books that I've read before, so if you guys want to check out the Daniel Plan, I'm going to be talking about it here soon, and we can go over it. But I'm reading that right now. I'm taking it on the trip with me. So I'm going to take food with me, have my Bible with me. Because we're going to church this weekend. Even though we're traveling, we do not skip church. We are going to a church in the area where we're traveling. So we will be attending church this weekend. So we're going to have a Bible. We're going to have food with us. I'm going to make sure I bring some utensils. And I'm going to bring, I don't know, snacks. Did I say that already? So the Daniel Plan, I don't know the author. I think it's Rick Warren. Let me look it up here real fast. It's by Rick Warren, Daniel Amen, and Mark Hyman. So I'm reading that, and I'm actually going to give you guys one. I'm going to give one away. I'm going to give a copy of the Daniel Plan away. So if you are watching this and you want to be given the Daniel Plan, go ahead and comment in the comment section. Not the chat. You guys that are on this current chat, do not comment it here because the chat disappears. Antoinette, don't write it in the chat because I can't do it from that. The chat will disappear and I won't have a record of who sent it. You have to actually wait and put it on the comment section of the video. And I will do a drawing on Tuesday when I get back. Monday I will be still traveling, but I will try to go live also where I'm traveling from so you guys can see me there. So if you want a copy of the Daniel Plan and you want to be part of that giveaway, make sure you comment in the comment section. So I'm going to get off here real soon and hopefully it'll change over so it'll give you the option to actually comment in the comment section. So of the actual video, and then I'll just do a drawing from those who want to have it on. I'll do the drawing on Tuesday, but I will be here live Monday, and then I'll let you know on Wednesday who won, if that makes any sense. So, okay, that's it. I'm going to pray, and we'll be done. Heavenly Father, Lord, I just thank you for the time we had together in your word, and I just pray that it'll be a blessing to everyone. Help us all to have a good, safe weekend, and to be focused on you, and to make better choices with food for your honor and glory. In Jesus' name, Lord, we pray. Amen. All right, guys, you all have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.